There is a specific kind of silence that follows a statement in a tennis press room when everyone present realizes a line has been crossed. Not a line on the court, but a line of professional respect between the two greatest players on the planet. On January 3, 2026, in Sydney, Iga Swiatek stood at the podium of the United Cup and delivered a cold, calculated dismissal of her primary rival that has effectively set the WTA Tour on fire. The target was the Battle of the Sexes exhibition match held just days earlier in Dubai between world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka and Nick Kyrgios. Swiatek did not just criticize the event, she dismantled the very premise of Sabalenka's current brand. When asked if she had watched her rival take on the Australian, Swiatek's response was immediate and devastating. "I do not watch stuff like that," she said. The phrase, "stuff like that," was not an accident. It was a tactical strike against the growing trend of entertainment-first tennis that Sabalenka has championed since taking the top spot in the rankings. To understand why this matters, we have to look at the receipts from that night in Dubai, because what happened on that court was less about tennis and more about a fundamental shift in how the sport is being sold to the public. According to the official match statistics from the Dubai exhibition, the conditions were heavily modified to ensure the spectacle lasted more than 30 minutes. The court on Sabalenka's side was reduced in size by exactly 9%. This was a calculated mechanical advantage designed to restrict the coverage required by the WTA World Number 1, while forcing Kyrgios to hit into a smaller target. Furthermore, the match operated under a one-serve rule, a format usually reserved for Fast 4 or tie-break 10s events. Despite these handicaps, the world saw a match that looked less like a professional competition and more like a choreographed variety show. Sabalenka made her entrance through the crowd with "Eye of the Tiger" blaring over the loudspeakers, stopping to dance and interact with fans, while Kyrgios leaned against the net post. The visual evidence from the 10-minute mark of the first set shows the reality of the tension. Sabalenka, during a changeover, began a mid-match dance routine that went viral, but look closely at the reaction from her coaching box. While the crowd cheered, there was a visible disconnect between the entertainment on court and the high-stakes professionalism usually associated with the world number 1. The financial cost of this event was staggering. Insider reports suggest the appearance fees for both players eclipsed the prize money for winning a standard WTA 500-level event. But for Swiatek, the cost was not monetary, it was the reputation of the women's game. In her Sydney presser, she pointedly referenced the 1973 Battle of the Sexes between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. Swiatek noted that the only similarity between the two events was the name. She argued that in 1973, King was fighting for social change and the very survival of the WTA. In 2025, she implied, Sabalenka was merely chasing a paycheck and a viral moment. This is where the Sherlock Holmes of the baseline comes out. Swiatek is not just protecting the history of the sport, she is protecting her territory. By calling the match entertainment rather than tennis, she is attempting to delegitimize Sabalenka's off-season preparations and frame herself as the only serious professional left at the top of the game. Look at the Hawkeye data from the Dubai match. Kyrgios, despite his ranking having plummeted to number 671 due to injury, was visibly holding back on his serve. His average first serve speed was clocked at 105 miles per hour, nearly 25 miles per hour slower than his career average. The match was a charade, and Swiatek knows it. She knows that every time the world number 1 participates in a match where the rules are manipulated for a joke, it devalues the 6 Grand Slam titles Swiatek has fought for. According to the WTA rulebook, Section 4, players are expected to uphold the integrity of the sport, even in non-sanctioned events. While Sabalenka did not technically break a rule, she broke the unspoken code of the elite. The ranking math adds another layer of venom to this exchange. As of today, January 8, 2026, Aryna Sabalenka holds a lead of 2,475 points over Swiatek, However, the month of January is a minefield for the Belarusian. She is defending 1,800 points from her wins in Brisbane and her runner-up finish at the Australian Open last year. Swiatek, by contrast, is only defending 1,105 points. If Sabalenka falters in Melbourne, the #1 ranking returns to Poland. Swiatek's comments were not just an opinion, they were the opening bell of a psychological war. She is framing Sabalenka as a performer and herself as a competitor. In the world of high-stakes tennis, that distinction is everything. When Sabalenka responded by saying she loves revenge and wants to keep tennis fresh and fun, she was confirming the character Iga had already cast her in. Sabalenka wants to be the face of a new, loud, entertainment-driven era. Swiatek wants to remain the stoic gatekeeper of the sport's prestige. The tension in the player box is the smoking gun here. During the Dubai match, look at the face of Anton Dubrov, Sabalenka's coach. He is a man who thrives on intensity and technical perfection. While Sabalenka was dancing during a medical timeout, Dubrov was looking at his shoes. Contrast that with Wim Fissette in Iga's practice box in Sydney. The focus is total. There are no music cues, there are no gimmicks. Swiatek is sending a message through her team and her tongue. The circus is in Dubai, but the tennis is in Sydney. The technical fallout of the Dubai match is also worth noting. Sabalenka struggled with her footwork on the reduced court, often overrunning balls because her brain is wired for the standard 27-foot width of a singles court. Analysts have pointed out that playing on a 9% smaller court for 3 hours can actually damage a player's spatial awareness heading into a Grand Slam. Swiatek's dismissal might be rooted in her belief that Sabalenka has made a tactical error that will cost her the Australian Open title. We also have to discuss the role of Nick Kyrgios in this drama. By choosing Kyrgios as her partner for this exhibition, Sabalenka aligned herself with the ultimate disruptor. For a purist like Swiatek, who values the silence and tradition of the court, this is the ultimate provocation. Swiatek's quote, "Women's tennis stands on its own right now," is a direct rebuke of the idea that a woman needs to play a man to prove her value or to draw a crowd. She is essentially calling Sabalenka regressive. The data supports Swiatek's claim that the women's game is at an all-time high in terms of independent viewership. The 2025 US Open Women's Final drew higher domestic ratings than the men's final. Swiatek is weaponizing these facts to paint Sabalenka as someone who doesn't understand the value of her own tour. As we move toward the first major of the year, the head-to-head record stands at 8-5 in favor of Swiatek. However, the last time they met at a Grand Slam was the Roland Garros semifinal in 2025, where Sabalenka won in a brutal third-set bagel. That loss clearly left a mark on Swiatek. Her current aggression in the press room is the behavior of a player who felt the sting of a physical defeat and is now using her intellectual and status-based weapons to strike back. She is not just playing for points anymore. She is playing for the soul of the WTA. Every time she says she didn't watch the match, she is telling the sponsors, the fans, and the tournament directors that Sabalenka's version of tennis is beneath her. It's a high-risk strategy. If Sabalenka wins the Australian Open while dancing through her matches, Swiatek looks like a bitter traditionalist. But if Sabalenka crashes out early, Swiatek's narrative that the Dubai exhibition was a distracting clown show will be proven right. The implications for sponsorship are also significant. Swiatek's brand is built on elegance, precision, and the prestige of Rolex and Porsche. Sabalenka has leaned into the high-energy, chaotic energy of the modern influencer. When Swiatek calls Sabalenka's match stuff like that, she is essentially telling high-end sponsors that their money is safer with the player who takes the sport seriously. This is a battle for the commercial future of the game. We are seeing two different philosophies of what a professional athlete should be in 2026. Is she a gladiator or an entertainer? Sabalenka's response to Swiatek's criticism was surprisingly brief but telling. She said she would do it again and that she loves a rematch. The irony is that the only rematch that matters will happen on a full-sized court in Melbourne with 2 serves and no music. The receipts are all there. The 9% smaller court, the 1-serve rule, the viral dancing, and the cold 3-sentence execution from Iga Swiatek in a Sydney press room. This is not just a disagreement between colleagues. This is a fundamental fracture in the WTA. Swiatek has drawn a line in the sand. On one side is the United Cup, mixed doubles, and the legacy of Billie Jean King. On the other side is the Dubai exhibition, Nick Kyrgios, and the Eye of the Tiger. As fans, we are being asked to choose. Do we want the sport to be a serious pursuit of excellence, or do we want it to be a show? Iga Swiatek has made her choice clear. She doesn't watch stuff like that. And by saying it out loud, she has ensured that the entire world is now watching her and Sabalenka closer than ever before. The Australian Open is no longer just about a trophy. It's about proving whose version of tennis is the truth. To see how this psychological war began, you need to look back at the 2025 WTA Finals, where the tension first started to boil over. But for now, the evidence is clear. Swiatek has stopped playing nice. She is using her position as the moral compass of the tour to isolate Sabalenka. Whether it works or backfires will be the story of the 2026 season. The math says Sabalenka is number 1, but the words say Swiatek still thinks she is the boss. We will see who is standing at the net with the trophy in 2 weeks. Until then, remember that in tennis, the loudest shots are often the ones fired in the press room, not on the court. If you want to dive deeper into the tactics that define the elite game, make sure to check out the Tennis Playbook playlist linked below.